So grateful to be here and very happy to discuss these incredibly important and hard to talk about topics. He has an incredible backbone and staggering moral fiber. Howie is totally committed, completely ethical, totally admirable. No pressure if you can hear this, but honestly, Howie's a hero to me.
John, you joined us before, and it was pretty incredible kind of testimony you gave. And you devoted your life to advocacy for child trafficking, and even 9/11 truth. Maybe you could explain to us, in the last decade, what do you think the most challenging parts of coming alive on some of these issues have been?
Probably the hardest thing, and it continues, is just realizing that pretty much everything that I was told and taught since I was in grade school is probably not true.
And hello, good evening. Welcome to the Traffic Report. Good evening, Howie.
Good evening, John.
And
who's that with us?
We have a very special guest who's actually now part of the show, and I'm thrilled to have her. I've only known her for a short time, but the investigative work that she's done, and at least one of the people that she's worked with, Phil McConnell, is a personal hero of mine. And Kelly's a mom. She cares about this issue and has for a long time, and a lot of other issues. She's you got to get up pretty early in the morning to get anything by her. And with that, good evening, Kelly. How are you?
Good evening. Hi, guys.
She's a researcher, and we're going to have links to some of her research. And lately, she's what we're doing tonight is the continuation of this Joel Davis fiasco, and she's got a timeline, and she's going to talk about the timeline of that case, and it's more will be revealed. I mean, it's just I've talked to a few people about it, including Lori Handrahan. A couple of articles. Disobedient Media did a excellent article on it, and that'll be in the show notes. But Kelly has produced this timeline. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, actually, allow me to. Are you able to put it down into the show notes now? If I go ahead and send it that way.
Yeah, I believe I can. You can.
Okay. Give me one moment.
So yeah, and I talked to Lars Anderson today. We got a little bit of information there. He's been a little bit hard to get a hold of. Blue Dot Media, but he gave me some additional information, which is now this is starting to make a little sense. They are a company that has been retained by one of 12 entities that are a part of this bigger organization. And he can't tell me which one that is. But apparently he's, they're a small, media company and basically troubleshooters, it sounds like, and they were just retained. So they have not had a long-standing relationship with this International Stop Rape campaign. But he seems to be willing to, and he actually told me, he doesn't know a whole lot more than we know. But we're gonna go ahead, Howie.
On the main Stop Rape campaign has 12 branches under it. Is that what he's saying?
That's what I understood him to say, and we've been going through the research that Kelli has done, Lori Hanrahan has done, and I have done so far. There was the main international Stop Rape campaign, and then there's another organization that they were partnering with that's out of Canada, and they're up until 2016, they seemed like a very up and up organization with some very impressive people running it. And then all of a sudden in 2016, something happened. And I actually got their annual report from 2016. And then there's been nothing. And I'm trying to make some contact with some of those people. But right when this happened, that's when Joel Davis came on the scene. And he's been touted as he was going to reorganize the whole, thing. And I mean, we've got that documented. I mean, you can read the tweets and the press release that this Stop Rape campaign put out was, I think, and I've actually told Lars that it was very misleading, because they were trying to paint him like he was just a volunteer, and from what
well, I would still like the whole, to understand the entire organizational structure, because when I was looking at the different websites, what was like the youth to stop, youth to end sexual violence, youth #2 ESV or Y2 ESV.
Okay, so far, that was Joel Davis's 501c4 foundation. That got suspended by the IRS in 2017. So right about the time where it seems like he was taking over the management of the whole ball of wax with this bigger foundation with the 5,000 supposed members, et cetera, et cetera. His foundation went belly up, I guess, suspended, and then he was involved, and there really hasn't been. I spoke with Lori about this, and she travels in the circles, in American University, the UN, and etc. And she's as confused as I am.
Well, I'm just saying this from the simple perspective that when I was just bopping around the different websites, Stop Rape campaign, Youth to End Sexual Violence, and there might have been another one. The websites were all done by the same web designer.
Yeah, well,
like they were basically the same website, just with a couple different things. The style was exactly the same. So somebody was, paying for all this, out of the same pot.
Right. And with my research, it looks as if the Stop the Rape campaign, that website was not created until 2017. Okay. So if he truly started it in 2013, supposedly, that's what they're saying, correct?
Well, that's kind of the timeline. I mean,
right. Now I went and attached the timeline to the chat, and it kind of details out. He's been a pretty busy kid.
Yeah.
What
on top of going to school and
Yeah, Juilliard Music School, and I'm just putting their website up right now. But go ahead, Kelli. You talk about the timeline.
Okay, as far as the timeline goes, we know that he, went to high school in Florida. Okay, graduated. That's tentatively 2012, 2013. Okay, but what I found interesting is that while he was in high school, he did a lot of humanitarian work. Okay, so it's pretty similar to what he's actually was doing. He was truly involved. There is an article that I did attach that you can attach to the YouTube down below in the description, you know, when you want to, but it describes, I mean, his high school teacher couldn't say enough about him. So everyone's wondering, okay, how did he get to the point where he got nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize, right?
That's what he
Well,
said.
that seems.
That's what he said.
Yeah, that seems. I don't know if he was actually nominated. There's varying things, but
right.
It seems to be he says he was being considered.
Okay.
For.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he was. I mean, I don't know if you can call the Nobel, you know, whatever, and say was this kid actually nominated?
Right. But I mean, he's put in the time for sure. I don't know how he got connected where he got connected, but based on his timeline, and I took this right off of his Facebook because it is public. But he's been involved with obviously the new job at Physicians Human Rights. That's out of Massachusetts. He started that in August of 2013. He also got involved in the United Nations, which that is the headquarters out of New York. Okay, there's
Kelly, I don't mean to cut you off. John, can you hear her well?
I can hear her okay. You're kind of loud, but I can hear her not.
Okay. Do you need me to, or is this better now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that was in 2014. So he's done a lot of internship work. Now, where he got involved in the Youth to End the Sexual Violence, the timeline that I have, according to his timeline, is July 31st of 2014, which is conflicting based on articles, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes. Yeah. The whole and you were researching the domains.
Yes.
Also.
Right.
But yeah, I don't see how, and it's not making any sense that he just basically comes out of high school. Yeah, he's done some work, and as I understand, he was moving, you know, in all those circles. Went to Columbia University, went to Juilliard. It just doesn't seem like there'd be enough time or experience for him to be, you know, put in front or given the reins to this huge, you know, supposedly organization with 5,000 members. You know, that just doesn't make sense to me.
Right. And that's a good question that you bring up. And that poses a lot of questions because of all the people, why him? And I'm not saying that he's not guilty. I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm not saying either way, because I always like to keep that open mind, which I encourage people to do all the time. You know, even my children, I encourage them to do. But the timeline is what it is. I mean, he definitely was, his name was involved. I don't know if he was a spokesman, but the most telling thing that I found is that there's a UNICEF website, which is tied to the UN, United Nations. There was actually a lawsuit, or not a lawsuit, I'm sorry, let me take that back. It's a pending, an ongoing investigation where 27 workers that were associated with UNICEF were actually involved in some type of sexual, not trafficking. I want to say it's some type of sexual activity was obviously a no-no. I didn't get in depth of what it all was because they didn't detail it out. But was he part of the 27? Is there a target on his back? Because, I mean, he kept talking about the campaign even after they said that he was ousted back in December, right? I mean, the timeline is what it is, what I have, and you can put up.
Yeah, we're gonna share that because it'll be in Google Dropbox, and we'll have a link to that so other people can look at it. And I'm asking everybody for help, and it just says a lot to me because Lori Handrahan is a college professor or was, and she traveled in all those circles, and she just can't make any sense of this. And it just, I'm at a loss. But everything, the timing of everything, we talked about that too. Is he a fall guy? Apparently there was something on his Facebook, that he was going to spill the beans. Wasn't that correct, Kelly?
Right. So let me just detail this out real quick and you can post it after. But on 3/8 of 2018, that article came out with that UNICEF announcement about the 27 workers. Okay.
Right.
On his Facebook post on March 22nd, he basically told everybody, I won't disappoint you. Come to watch me at TED. I'm going to be talking and I'm going to spill the beans. Taken right off of his Facebook. And then when I got into the indictment or the FBI affidavit, the investigation truly started in April. It was no longer than a month and a half that all of that took place. Now, is that possible? Absolutely. But we've seen, the way they work with other cases, and obviously that's not a month, right? So there's a lot of just what ifs. There's a lot of questions. And he himself was a survivor.
Yes. And just, again, and that's what I really like about you, Kelly. You operate on facts, we try to do the same thing, but, there's also, we have to delve into opinion at times. And,
sure.
The fact, we know how the deep state works. We know how people are compromised. We know that survivors and victims of child sexual abuse are often groomed and targeted as, people that can,
victims of child sexual abuse are often groomed.
I'm getting some feedback from somewhere.
That was from me. Sorry.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, and what the biggest thing that just doesn't make sense to me is the short amount of time. This other big organization in Canada, and I'm going to have some more information on that when I can, and I'm trying to contact some of these people, but these are people that had, college degrees out the yin yang, and were, I mean, just reading, if you read that, and I got to get that link too to their annual report in 2016. Mm-hmm. It sounded like, and then where did they go? Where did they disassociate? And hopefully, and what we're going to do, just to let the audience know, because I confirmed this with Lars, and I think he's at a disadvantage too, because they're basically a company that's been employed by one of the entities in this larger charity. Where are the rest of them at? So we're going to compose a list of questions that he'll try to get answered for us. And one of the questions is, how many organizations are involved? What are their names? Because I haven't been able to even find the parent organization as a registered charity.
They're not.
Yeah. So
I don't know. So where's the money coming from if
right.
they're not a I mean, all you have to do is go on Charity Navigator, and I mean, they have to list.
Yep.
But I mean, none of them have physical addresses. None of them have a phone number. Like, how do you not have a phone number?
And
how do you call yourself? You're going to stop rape in the Congo. Say you got 5,000 members, and you don't have a contact. It's just some info at Stop Rape campaign. I mean, what kind of organization is that? So at the very least, who's paying for the websites? And I mean, you can probably go and look, but if they have a administrator, but sometimes there's not an actual person. It's done through a company. But
yeah, well, and I want a list of these 5,000 organizations because all he's talking about is 12.
Well, in the chat, I went ahead and posted what I found. You can share. I don't know if there's, one of them is involved, or it seems to be might be a good 12 there. But what happens with charities, they always hide, even companies or corporations, they have a tendency to hide behind each other, or they will do business as another name, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
with nonprofit, obviously, they have to, they have rules just like a regular company, because if they're going to be tax exempt, they then in turn have to apply for that through the IRS. And that is a process. And like Howie had said, through Charity Navigator is where you can find pretty much every nonprofit if it is indeed registered. So.
And I found this. Let me just get this up. This. Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Here. This is the. Doesn't want to load for me, but yeah, there it is. This is one of the, and the way I read it, and that came off of the Stop Rape Campaign's website, that they were going to be the funding arm of this effort, and this other organization, the Nobel Women's Initiative, was going to be like the infrastructure that delivered these services. And this is, and they're very, very impressive people, but and it looks like there's still, they're operating in 2018, but it seems like their ties to the Stop Rape campaign are no longer there. I don't know. But that's where we're digging. And that Nobel Women's Initiative, they were basically based in Canada, and all these, very impressive people were, part of that organization. So.
Right. And I don't.
Looking up now, the youth and sexual violence, that was created in July of 2015.
Yeah, and that was
okay?
Joel's.
That
was Joel's.
Right. So I'm gonna look up the Stop Rape campaign and see when their website was created.
I can attach that.
Yeah, Kelly already did that, Howie. I think.
What I found too was the website. If you want to, I forget what the name of it is, but it actually has 3 different backlinks to it. So it has 3 different websites, which I found very interesting. I haven't delved into that much, but I found that very interesting. Also interesting that the server has changed. Just July 2nd of 2018, it was previously in New York, and now it is in Canada. And that was just changed, because you can always follow the records.
Now, and I'll show you this right here. Let me put it up. Okay. My question here is why, and you can see it.
That thing in Kelly, that thing in Canada, that's 2 cows. That's the registrant.
Yes.
That's like the GoDaddy. So that's why it'll say Canada.
And you can see here.
I've seen that.
This was supposed to be the 2 main organizations. You had the International Stop Rape and Conflict, and then you had these people. And you can see right here, their last annual report is in 2016. Why is that? Did they quit doing annual reports? I don't understand it. They seem to be they've got a donate button up
Well,
here, you know.
maybe they've been a little
Where-
distracted with
Where'd you get the annual report, John?
It's on their website, nobelwomensinitiative.org. And I got to them through the Stop Rape and Conflict campaign, and their initial.
I'm trying to figure out which website has an annual report on it.
nobelwomensinitiative.org.
Nobel Women. Oh, I don't know. I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah, well,
Nobel.
if you go to the Stop Rape campaign, that's where I started, the Stop Rape campaign.org, whatever that is. And who are we? What are we about? They give their little story, and they're saying that the Stop Rape campaign is the fundraiser, and that these people would be the ones that would be like the infrastructure, putting, making sure this job got done. And that's how I found them. I had no idea who they were.
I mean, aside from all this stuff, let's be realistic. They didn't stop one single fucking rape.
I don't know what they've been doing, but
they work with the UN to pass bullshit resolutions. That's what they do. That never get implemented. That's what they do. That's what they said they do.
Well, supposedly too, there's some sort of on the ground work that's going on in Congo, and I don't know. I mean, there's so many questions to what they actually.
All the countries where the UN was going in and raping the kids.
Yeah. And we brought that up, Kelly. And I was talking about that. Peter Dalgleish and the UN, child trafficking, and now you've got ties to the UN from this guy, and none of it sounds kosher. I mean, it's just like this big spider web of who knows what, and who's donating to this, who's really behind it. We're because there's a lot of juice and money, obviously, going through this, and that's what we're trying. That's going to be in our quest, one of our questions to Lars. And it sounds like, and this is again speculation and opinion, but I'm thinking that this Nobel Women's Initiative is the one that retained Lars to answer some questions, because it seems like there was some sort of break between them and the Stop Rape campaign. So, I suppose we'll find out, but I just don't, why did they stop putting out annual reports in 2016? They've got
well, it sometimes takes a while for them to release the 2017 report. They just there's what the time period is, but they're always a year behind, and they just might be 2 years behind.
Well, the thing is they have a bigger trail to follow, perhaps, where they have to disclose more information than what they're used to. Because from what I see, there's a lot going on. And more, put it this way, more things, bad things, obviously, are being exposed. So they better obviously maybe think they can get their ducks in a row a little, because you can't hide from this, because it is definitely getting exposed. I mean, thanks to y'all's site, the work that you've been putting in, a lot of people, are getting involved in this, because, for once, I think since President Trump come on board, thank the good Lord, right? But we are allowed to speak more so, I think freely. I could be wrong, but
no, I don't think you are. I think we'd all be in a FEMA camp if Hillary Clinton would have got elected, myself included.
I would have been for sure.
Give me 1 second, y'all. I have to find something for my daughter. Give me one moment.
Not a problem. So how, well, bring up the president. you know, I know you've got some strong feelings about this bullshit investigation that's been going on for what, 2 years now by Robert Mueller, and they release the chicken shit indictments to time out with his visit with Putin, and you know, come on.
I had the opportunity today to watch news, and I was actually disappointed to see Trump, backtrack and say, well, now he believes he believes that there was Russian meddling. I'm hoping that he's up to something. I'm hoping that he's doing it for a reason.
I would think he would realize that, it's just a non-story. I mean, of course they hack the United States. It's never mentioned what the CIA and every, however many intelligence agencies that we have are hacking Russia every day. Their businesses, their financial system, their government. For God's sake, we hacked into Iran's nuclear plant and destroyed their centrifuge.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
And but they've got 12 people that hacked into the election. It's like, and this is the FBI. It's ridiculous. The whole story is ridiculous.
Well, I was saying earlier today. I mean, I had the opportunity to be near a television. I was doing something, and I said, let me throw it on just to see, because I don't have a television. I don't watch TV, and it's this word. It's this word meddling that, and they actually use this as the word over and over again. Once in a while they'll say interfere, but most of the time it's that the Russians meddled. They don't. And that's all they keep saying is they meddled in the election. They meddled in the election. They meddled in the election. And I got to be honest with you, I don't know what that means. I don't know what it means they meddled in the election.
Yeah, it's lost its meaning. It's definitely lost its meaning, right?
And and I called in the C-SPAN, a long time ago when they're talking about Russians and the hacking and the illegal release. And really what we're talking about is, some stuff from the DNC, but mostly what we're talking about is John Podesta's emails. And, and that, I guess now they're saying there was some type of phishing scam, even though his password was password. But at the same time, they never, ever, ever talk about the content of his emails. The content, whether Russian, when they released it, a couple weeks before release these things, a couple weeks before the election. I mean, listen, I put out a tweet. It got good play. It's a tweet saying that John Podesta in 2015 saying that he is all for making an example of a leaker.
Seth Rich.
I mean, it's right there. Right. And we're right around the 2-year anniversary of Seth Rich. We're getting, this isn't necessarily pedogate stuff, but this is deep state. I mean, we don't have to get into the Pizzagate emails right now. So they just keep throwing out, and nobody has any idea. Nobody even has any idea. I mean, I was unfortunately I was with my parents today, and my mom's got it. My mom's got it in her head, and she's not the most politically savvy, and I'm being nice. Love you, Ma. She's saying that she's got it in her head that they're manipulating the voting booths, and I'm like, manipulating the voting booths? That's what the Democrats do.
Yeah.
So
even with that manipulation, Trump won. Which they still, can't figure out.
Well,
they have to blame.
But
it couldn't. And I know independents. I know Democrats. Many, but they can't. The DNC and Hillary Clinton and that whole mafia just can't get it through their heads that.
But Sarah Huckabee Sanders, she had a press press conference today, and first time in a while, and not for nothing, she had a rough day. She had a rough day, and you know, for Trump has to understand. Like, I mean, I like to feel that most people feel the way I do. Like, if he goes out and says the Russians had nothing to do with anything, and we're not talking collusion here. We're just talking meddling. But I'm ready. I'm backing them 100%. And I'm, now it's like I've been screaming. There's no Russians. I'm telling people about Seth Rich that have no idea who Seth Rich was. And now it's like, well, now that Trump's going to say that there was meddling,
and Imran Awan, remember him?
Yeah, I remember him also.
There was no hack.
But that got cleaned up. That got cleaned up easily. But there's another guy today, and I don't even know where he's from. He gave this thing. He gave a speech talking about how George Tenet back in 9/11 was talking about the Russians, and he was using like the red light. The red light was blinking metaphor, and this guy. I wish I knew who he was. He was saying the light is blinking again. The red light's going. I mean, they speak in generalities. They speak in metaphor. They never say what is going on. It's just like. But the bottom line is people are buying into this shit, and we're heading into 2018. And if we want to support Trump, and we want to like go forward with pedogate and human trafficking and everything like that, I mean, if the Democrats get control of the House, and it's going to be, I mean, as much as we're up against it now, it's going to be a major setback.
Yeah, and I still.
And now we're what, four months away.
And it's my thought, if they don't put some big names in jail, that it's going to be bad news in 2018.
Well, it's either it's just what everyone says, like either shit or get off the pot. Like, you're either going to start doing, what it is that needs to be done, or you're just going to let it go. Do you know what I mean? Because it's distracting. We need to obviously focus on more things, pedophilia being one of them, sex trafficking, because as this bullshit is going on in the background, or I'm sorry, in the forefront, there's every minute, every second, there's children being harmed, so
raped, murdered.
Where I'm at, because I'm kind of sick. I don't know about y'all, but I'm kind of sick of hearing about Hillary's emails. I mean, what else do you need to know? It's all there. So now what? Are we going to continue to keep talking about it and regurgitating it and basically bombing it up? Because I'm about to do that point, but that's my personal.
It's time. It's past.
Obviously, obviously at this point, nothing's going to happen with it.
Right. I mean, we just need to be realistic. I mean, either everyone always says, "Are you Democrat or Republican?" I like to think of myself as a realist. I'm a realist because keep in the middle. I mean, I don't know what all of this divide is about, but at some point, like Howie, we know what's not going to happen. I mean, they've been being investigated since 2001, if I'm not mistaken, with the Clinton Foundation. They've given watered down HIV medication overseas, to third world countries. That's real great, right? And how are they able to keep a nonprofit up and running? knowing, there was a case, literally the pharmaceutical company, there was a court case. Now, what happened? They're still walking around, which, okay. So there's not one thing they can do. I don't.
Where?
Productive. I'm sorry?
She's going to be at the Oxy Fest. Is that
right.
OxyContin?
She's going to be there too.
Oxycodone.
or Ozzy Fest. It's Ozzy, OZY.
Right.
Ozzy, yeah, yeah, Ozzy Fest.
Yeah, yeah.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Take a picnic. I think it's on the lawn, right?
I just
Oh,
hope.
I didn't know she was going to be there.
Yeah, that's why I asked you about it.
I missed that part. Where is it?
It's in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Only a train ride away, Howie. Let me just, while you're looking that up, I just want to put, because people, and I'm going to put these links in there too. Disobedient Media has done excellent work on this Joel Davis. This latest article, Anti-Rape Coalition fails to cover up association with alleged pedophile Joel Davis. And he's not alleged. He's actually admitted having sex with a 13-year-old boy, so that's not alleged. The other charges are,
But
alleged.
Where's the affidavit where he's actually, and I'm playing devil's advocate here. He admitted, right? But where's his affidavit to state that? Where is that, accompanying that? And that's the question I'm throwing out there.
Yeah, and I would like to, actually, I'm going to try to find out what jail he's in. If you would think they're keeping him in jail with the seriousness of these charges, but I'd like to hear his side of it, or at least send him a letter or something, to see.
Right.
Was he a fall guy? But this is a really good article, and it brings in, all the different layers of this, and they've done 2 or 3 on this, and they're doing, the best job that I've seen it on getting this information out. So check out Disobedient Media, and these links will be in there.
I so dropped the ball. Somebody had sent me this lineup of this Ozzy Fest, and I thought it was Ozfest. I thought it was Ozzy Osbourne's thing, and I was like, man, Jake Tapper's going to be there. They're going after that crowd. I didn't know. Wow, I feel so stupid. And now that I'm seeing that there's something called the OZY Fest this weekend, and it's just the typical Chelsea Handler. I don't know some of these people, but they sure look like a bunch of libtards to me.
So are you going? Are you going or what? That's why I texted that to you.
I'm working all weekend. Let me see if I'd like to be there.
All right. If I know you'll if there's a way you'll be there. God, I hate her so much. I really there's just no words for how I feel about that hag. So
which one?
Oh wow.
Hillary and Chelsea to
I can't. I'm so, dude. I am so sorry, man. I totally was like, I literally thought it was Oz. I thought it was Ozfest.
Initially, I did too.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, you blew that off so fast. I was like, wow, he must really be swamped.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to Ozfest. I'm not going to Ozfest.
That's what I thought. I tweeted. I had to delete my tweet. I said something like it's Ozfest, you hag, and then Kelly corrected me and said no, that's OZY. It's a different thing. And
I feel so stupid right now.
Yeah, so did I when I deleted the tweet. But we're not professional.
Man.
Like Oxy.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is not my crowd. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. All right. Let me see what I can do.
Yeah, you'll be there. So there's another viral video. Oh, and on another brighter note, something I think a German website carried, I think, the Biden video, and that's rolling again, the original one, and some other website carried, might have been the Clinton one, but they're getting like 2,000 and something views every 48 hours on the, so that,
But I talked about, I don't know if I talked about it last week, a couple weeks ago. It's just like, something is pulling me back in the direction more to politics right now, just because obviously the midterms are super important.
Sure.
So, obviously my heart will always be, in the pedogate community, but, in Pennsylvania, we do, I've said this before, that we have, a Senate race coming up, and it won't be easy, but I believe that the senator from Pennsylvania, Bob Casey, I believe he's beat. It's not beyond the realm of possibility that he could be beaten. And so I think, September and October, I'm going to take up my perch, on Roosevelt Boulevard, and, do whatever I can to make sure that, anybody that wants to support the president will go out and vote, for, and I'm not even going to know that. Now I'm going to forget the guy's name. The guy who's running against Bob Casey. Let me get his name. Let's promote this dude. Lou Barletta. Lou Barletta.
Well, and you go do your thing. Go out and raise hell, and Kelly and I will research and keep hammering away on Joel Davis.
Yeah. And I'll still be around. I'm just saying it's it's important.
There's that other guy that we're supposed to go see. Remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that has to be planned.
Because I'm going on that one.
Yeah, that has to be planned. We got to make sure. I like to, going to where, going to the house would be awesome. But if we can get him out, and he's probably once the summer ends and, the political stuff starts, heating up. I mean, it's going to be crazy, man. This is going to be this is going to be like midterms like we've never seen before. So he should be around somewhere, right?
Yeah, and I'm going on that.
Sorry, we can't tell you who we're talking about.
But his initials are.
Stop.
So, and while we're at it, just little updates. The last that I've seen, I don't think there's anything newer, but Josh Shapiro, the Attorney General for Pennsylvania, has filed his response to the state Supreme Court holding up that report. And I guess they're mulling it over, but let me just, that's a great article in the Morning Call. We'll add that to the show notes also. But he is, let me see. He argued the report should not be delayed, calling it a matter of exceptional public interest. Hundreds of victims, thousands of parishioners, and many members of the community are awaiting the report. This was in his response to the Supreme Court. The longer it is held, the greater the risk of undermining public confidence in the judicial system. I totally agree, Mr. Shapiro. And,
Right, but I just have one thing to say with that. I mean, obviously, it is important to disclose the truth, but at the end of the day, what is the outcome? And that's the frustration is all coming in. Rightfully so. Rightfully so.
The outcome. People they'll be horrified. They'll be disappointed.
Right.
But I think when it comes to the Catholic Church at this point, people are just so desensitized to it because they've just heard it so many times, and it's just like, well, yeah, it happened, but they're working on it, and it's a few bad apples, or whatever.
And I agree with both of you, but the next thing when that report comes out, there better be some indictments to go with it. Because it's just like doing a documentary on child trafficking. We don't need another report. We don't need another documentary. We need fucking indictments. People going to jail.
They arrest priests. Some guy. Some of them are dead. I mean, the bottom line is talking about collusion. You want to talk about an organization that was complicit in the rape of children, talking about the Catholic Church. And that's the thing that nobody, people don't want to say. They don't want to say that they're fucking complicit in it.
Your audio's going in and out, Howie.
I hear feedback. Hold on a second.
Yeah, your audio was going in and out. But yeah, I mean, I get you, Kelly. You know, I could give a shit about the report. I want to know. And supposedly we've heard that there are indictments. It's a grand jury, for God's sake. So yeah.
And it is important. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't want to say that it's like Howie said, they purposely, well, I don't even know if it's purposely, because I don't know that for sure. I can only assume, but that's obviously making an ass out of you and me, right? But they have a tendency to stretch things out, so we do become desensitized. Like it's not a shocker, like, and it certainly has got to stop being that way, because every child matters, right? Every American matters. I even feel bad for the illegals as well, because to me, they were used, right?
Yeah.
Imagine into America with a dream, just like we have dreams, right? And I'm not saying, I'm not turning into Oprah, so just hear me out. But they were kind of led to believe a lot. I mean, they were led to believe that, just as if they do it to us as well. I mean, and for that, I feel bad. And then you have attorneys coming in and taking advantage of the system, where they'll stretch out illegal immigration. I mean, you can get you can become a U.S. citizen in 5 years. If you're married, you can become a U.S. citizen in 3. So the process is a long one, right? But I hear it's also expensive. I don't know much about the prices, but if they're going to pay $6,000 or $8,000 to come over across the border to some yahoo, which I guess that's what I've heard happens, to come across the border, they're paying $6,000 and $8,000, oftentimes more.
It's another, and everything's a racket.
Right.
We're whatever group it is, whether it's children, whether it's elderly people, whether it's immigrants, we're all just cannon fodder, for the elite that run our society, and that they just move from group to group. Oh, okay, we'll use this one this week, and this is,
right.
and not to mention putting everybody at each other's throats. I mean, that's their specialty. They've been doing that since, probably recorded history, and it's the same groups.
Right, but I do believe, the election is very important, like Howie said. I mean, it's going to tie into every issue that's going on, even the pedophilia, right? Because you have to think what it is that these politicians stand for. It's all going to tie in together. Everything ties together, unfortunately. Or fortunately,
We've been harping on that for over a year, and we did all these, very involved shows on all these old, like the Franklin scandal and the Finders report and all that history, and it is, and nobody ever goes to this website. I've recommended it, 1,000 times, but you can see it. It's all there. It's the national. It's IS, International Study for Global Politics.
Okay.
And they've got all this information on it. The Dutroux scandal in Belgium, and the best part of that website is they have all the NGOs, and you can see how you've got all the NGOs on the right and who they're financed by, and all the NGOs on the left and who they're financed by, and it's the same people, and they've got this infrastructure to brainwash people into party affiliations, into conservative, liberal, blah, blah, blah. But all the money is the same. And you can see it. It's right there in black and white. But nobody, nobody wants to know that. They just don't. They'd rather, I'm this or I'm that. And we take on these labels, you know, and all it does is paralyzes, you know, the populace to getting this shit changed and rioting in the streets, you know, and
Right.
and tearing down, you know, the archdiocese in Philadelphia and in Baltimore, and you know, I mean, so, you know, but we are making some progress, because it is even in the year that we've been doing this, and like you've been doing this a long time, Kelly. I've been doing this, you know, basically since 9/11, and it is a different world. And what I say about Trump is that's the only president in the history of the presidency that has got 3 executive orders that have started to make an impact in child trafficking. I don't give a shit what else he does. I don't care about Social Security, because it's all a shell game anyway. I mean, it's all so corrupt that, you know, if we don't support, and that's the core of it, if we don't do anything about our children being raped and murdered, we don't deserve to be a society. You know, you don't deserve your Social Security. You know, it's so that's the bright spot, and we have to focus on that and keep getting the information out and support the only entity, and that's Donald Trump, that has done anything productive in stopping our children from being raped and murdered on a daily basis. It's as simple as that to me. So the 10 o'clock hour is rolling around. I think we've covered what we needed to. You got anything else, Howie?
No, this is blowing my mind.
Howie's packing up for the Oxyfest.
he's meant. Did you know he's got a new megaphone that he hasn't even tried out yet?
No, I haven't. No, here's the thing. I haven't worked a Saturday night in probably a month, and for this week on, I'm like, crap. So I have to figure out how to get off. Hillary's looks like she's headlining.
Well, we'll hold down the fort. We'll do the research, and you just go have some fun, you know.
You want to come to Philly and cover my ship?
Huh?
I said, if you want to come to Philly and cover my ship.
Well, don't go crazy. We used to call it Dial a Kelly Day at the fire department. Just, you know.
Yeah. All right, I'll see what I can do.
You know, that thing's going around. That thing. So
GQ calls it your guide to Ozzy Fest. This is a festival for folks who love Coachella and neoliberalism. You know what Coachella is? I found that.
What?
I found it out this year from Twitter, because I came home one night and Coachella was trending. I was like, "What the hell is this?" And because it's like this music festival, and Beyonce was headlining it, and these people are, and there's a problem in this world, dude.
There it is. Hold on. Let me get this up so everybody can see this fucking disaster. There it is.
Ozfest.
No, that's the one. Central Park. Buy one, get one
really?
free. Yeah.
Dude, they lowered the price.
Yeah. Anybody that has to see.
Hillary's headlining this thing.
I know. Of course she is. There they are. Chelsea Handler.
Michelle Wolf will be there. Jake Tapper will be there, and a bunch of people I've never heard of.
Yeah, there they all are. It's a big circle jerk, and Hillary's the pivot man.
Who are these people? Group love?
You know Chelsea Handler, with all her, bashing everything, she bragged in an interview about having 2 abortions in the same year when she was 16.
Whoa.
I was like,
Oh, Tom Perez, the DNC chair, is going to be there.
Oh, I love him.
He's a real beaut.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh man, you got to go to this. You got to go.
Oh, I do. I mean, there's no. You just want me. You just want me to get beat up.
Yeah, that's what I want. Oh, you got a town square, the platform, a band shell. Boy, you can be all over this.
I mean, seriously, just stand. You don't have to do. You don't even have to do anything. You just stand outside. You just stand outside as they're all walking in with a sign.
Oh my God! Look at this. Here's the prices. Oh shit! General admission. What a fucking racket. $79 for Sunday, $99 for Saturday. A 2-day pass is $134. But if you want the VIP, the 2-day pass is $306.
I'm not going in. I don't have to go in.
Are they having carnival rides there or what?
Yeah, it's like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, only it's like big Hillary faces you just see instead of that. That scares everybody.
Yeah, I just gotta stand out. I just gotta stand outside as they're going in. There's no reason to go in.
Yeah, really. Why would you pay for that dribble?
No, there's no reason to. You stand in front of the line with the sign, and whoever wants to pay, and you everyone on the way in. Piss them off, and then.
I'm just hoping you get near Hillary somehow.
Oh, you want? Oh, you're taking it to. Now I probably gotta go VIP on that, right? All right.
Yeah.
All right, let me.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, guys, hang out for a minute. I'm just going to say good night. Thank you, everybody in the chat room, Facebook, Twitter, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're still on Joel Davis. We're going to be on Joel Davis. We're going to be on Nexium. We're going to be on the Pennsylvania Attorney General report. So,
and please keep posting. Please keep posting articles of arrests and convictions to Federgate News. Please keep that hashtag alive, please.
All right. So good night, everybody. Kelly and Howie, stay around for a minute.
All right.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.